Pretentious title. I know. It's meant to be funny and self-deprecating. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start a new campaign here for Twitch. Now, for those of you not familiar with this game, I think it's one of the best 4Xs out there. You can customize your ships down to a hex level and resize them to a variety of scales. I'll go ahead and load up my custom race, which I'll explain in just a moment. Now, each race has a profile, which you can pick the picture and from these portraits here, ship type, a weapon skin, and you have traits down here which have different effects. I'm starting off with no money. A devout people. Now, the devout have incredibly powerful shields, but the offset for that is their homeworld doesn't really create planetary resources per se. They get sacrificed, and that makes the shield stronger. You also have to increase the size of the altar with population, otherwise you get godless. Things start to really weaken. So think of it as sci-fi, where the gods actually do intervene and faith actually does matter, and if your people are faithless, you get real problems. Our homeworld's going to start from moon base, and they're going to be frugal, which means that any planet would require one fewer Tier 1 resource upgrade to Tier 3, which is a massive bonus. Planets come at a premium in this game until you get the ability to create them, and that takes a little bit of a lot of power. You have your gates. The gates are your method of warp travel, and there are many different types. I'll show you the other options here in just a moment. I'm just reviewing the traits of the species we're going to be using right now. Innovative is another very powerful tool. It allows you to automatically research anything that you have fully invested the research points for. Normally it also takes time to unlock it after you've researched it, but this makes it immediately. So as soon as your people have done all the research necessary, the ability becomes available. We have Paranoid, which makes it harder to do diplomacy. Cards cost a little bit extra. As a penalty, we can choose our penalties and our perks. The penalties are red and the perks are green. And so Innovative is a perk that was paid for by Paranoid. And then we have Lavish, which means that maximum populations on higher level planets is slightly reduced. But that allows us to get Ancient Workshops, which allows us to have random artifacts appearing in our home system. And solar engines can always be produced, which is an extraordinarily useful tool in early game. You plop a solar engine out there and you instantly have a power supply that you're starting to generate for your empire. And then here's our government type. We're using Theocracy, which goes really well with the Devout. We're going to have no starting fleets just out of election. So everybody's going to have to build their initial fleets. It keeps me from having to deal with the initial junk ships, as I call them. They're poorly designed, and you can just build them on your own. But it does take money to build, so it takes everybody a little bit harder time to get started. We also start with 250 FTL, which isn't really important because we generate a base amount of 1 per turn, and warp gates, the gates that we use only require a small fractional sum of that. We also have a starting attitude of Reverent. Reverent is an attitude which is really good for the Devout, because Reverent allows on the second unlock for that path, it boosts the shields of a ship generated by faith by 25%. It also would boost the shields of normal shields by 25%, but in this case it just goes really well with the Devout's design. So here's our personality types. We could have also taken Rigid, which increases the time to unlock nodes, which I think would be a very huge hindrance. You can also, actually it just means you can't use study unlock methods. Study unlock means that if you go up to a particular node in the tree, some of them will allow you to buy it with cash or buy it with diplomacy. So having that locks you out of that. It slows down your research, and that's never good in my opinion. Charismatic means that your start of the empire begins with 3 support instead of just 1, which means that you get a little extra influence at the beginning. I personally don't find that useful, so it's not worth 1 point, so I haven't used it. Prideful. Whenever you construct a larger flagship the larger size than the largest flagship, you gain permanently influence stake and defense generation depending on how much larger that ship is. I've pondered putting this in place of something else, but Frugal and Innovative are so powerful, I haven't really found an option to do that. We can look at our other types here and see if there's anything that will give us an extra point. You can choose multiple different types of government. Each one starts with a different attitude type, which allows a different type of progression and a different type of fleet support and a different bonus. The other bonuses aren't really that important, and using random is risky. You can end up with one that you don't. So I haven't used it. I'm sticking to theocracy. Now, the faster in life methods, you have a lot from sci-fi here. Hyperdrive, Star Wars, flame beacons, Mass Effect, slipstream. Can't think of anything that uses slipstream. It's not the same as a warp drive, I don't believe. Maybe I'm thinking some of the species from Babylon 9 may have used slipstreams. Jump drives, which is kind of like hyperdrive, but more. Actually, this is more like warp drive from Star Wars, and jump drives are more like the hyperdrives from Star Wars. Sublight, of course, you just don't have light speed travel, which this can be very painful. It can take you a very long time to get between systems like this, although I have built scouts that can easily fly at ridiculous speeds and get between systems with no problem on sublight. That will mean that you'll be dedicating a good chunk of your ships purely to engine. So huge penalty. You can also choose random, which will give you a bonus card at the start of the game, but can make things a little rough if you're using a type of FTL you're not familiar with or simply don't like to use. So on to foundations. This is a type of these are the bonuses you can start with in terms of getting free stuff and extra penalties you can take. There's the 4 option in terms of. Yeah, I'm thinking what we're going to do here is the Ancient Workshop isn't really useful once you get more systems because you'll find artifacts out there. And I end up having way more artifacts than I need, so I wanted to go ahead and drop the Ancient Workshop, and we're going to go ahead and add Prideful because that can be extremely useful at the early start, especially if you don't have start off with you don't start with a influence generator nearby. That could be all the difference. This can also be useful, but it only costs like 5 influence stakes, which you'll see what those are at the start of the game in order to pick up another branch. So we're not going to use that. This doesn't give enough benefit for the point. Life. This is the type of, I guess you could say, life form that you are. You have the terrestrial, which are just like humans. No perks, no penalties, just standard humans. The verdant, which are beings who their ships are organic, and they're basically plants. They're plant life. Their worlds have stalks on them rather than cities. You have the linked, which are basically machine life. You have a mainframe, a control computer, and different types of supplies other than your traditional set of supplies for your species. So it completely replaces the underlying gameplay, and that's one of the things like about this game also. Whenever you choose a different life, it's like playing a completely different game. So you can easily get multiple playthroughs here. And then there's the evangelicals. They're like a bit like the Vow, except that they have a different effect. You can construct star temples, and they will automatically send missionaries to planets to give to basically spread influence. They can't construct outposts because of that. Now, the devout and the evangelical, I guess you could say the difference is that the devout believe in a god and the evangelical believe in a specific god, and they're trying to spread their worship of them. The mechanoids, these are dedicated machines, much like the mainframes, but these are more robotic rather than electronic life forms. So the mechanoids, they can instantaneously transfer population, and all population must be constructed with labor rather than growing. So that makes things a little bit more challenging. It doesn't require any food or water, so you can replace all your food and water resources with others through terraforming, but it can't use shipyards or dry docks. Star Children, population only grows on motherships. These are nomads, basically. And the Ancient. This is a completely different way of play. It even has 4 penalty points to play. And basically you just build a orbital habitat around a planet, and it gets the ability to access that planet's resources. So a completely different economy. Extragalactic, these guys have beacons that they use to get around the map. And that allows them to have a very quick early start in multiple galaxies. So they can just bounce around between these beacons and rapidly establish dominance if they move fast enough. I really don't like these guys. They end up accidentally showing in your backyard for beacon, and next thing you know, you have a war right off the start of the game. And their beacons are incredibly hard to destroy, and once you destroy one, I'm not sure they can be rebuilt. And as you can see, the jump browser allows jumps to beacons without any risk of damage. You can choose a random life and start off with 1 research per second, which is kind of nice. So if you get accustomed to playing all these, you can pick random. But I have fallen in love with it about because of their shields. So we're going to go ahead and use that one. Just make sure I save over that one, the changes that we've made. Alright, so there are up to, I think, 10 different races. So we're going to have 11 people playing because I want 1 of each race, including me. Now what will happen is we'll get down to the bottom and one of the races will repeat themselves when it gets to the end of the list. Yep, there we are, monos. So we're going to go ahead and delete the last mono, and we now have all of our races. Let's do a count. Yep, total of 11. So I like to have my galaxies and my game configured. I like the unique stuff showing up, so we're going to increase that slightly. Disable starting fleets, leave the Dread Pirates on. Allow the surrender to break term. So basically, if you defeat somebody with a puppet, you can set the puppet free. Enable terraforming, enable diplomacy, turn on remnant aggression so that the remnants are like pirates in different systems. They prevent you from taking over the system until you beat them. So we'll turn that on to make sure that they're causing trouble and havoc. Everyone, give something to beat. No fully explored map. We want total fog of war. It's no fun knowing where everything's at from the start. No victory options other than revenant parts and victory points. These do not actually end the game, only the time limit does. And we'll also enable influence victory, so we have to actually do the politics as well as the fighting. Alright, so we have to flatten the galaxies because there's a game glitch where you can have a problem getting ships to go to a system that has appeared off the map when they're not flat. So I'm going to put that in place. Now this first spiral galaxy, we're going to make it rather huge. 110 planets. Or 110 systems. And it's going to be flattened out. And that's going to be our battlefield between all the races. Nobody's going to start there to make it challenging. And we'll just add, I don't like the other galaxy types, they can be a little awkward, so we're just going to use spirals. And each of these is going to contain 11, not 10. 10 systems apiece. one for each species, and start game. Now, normally this game will play a universe the size and scale that your processor will handle. They recommend lower. I like grand epic games. My computer can handle it just fine, and so will the stream. So we're now generating the galaxy. We'll have our start soon. The first thing we want to do is slow down time, because the AI moves much faster than the player at the start, and we want the ability to think about what we're doing and also get our initial ship set up. So we're in a system called Nemos. We'll be able to rename that later if we want to, as well as our Homeworld, which is named Nemos. Well, no, Nemos 1. So we're on the inner planet here. We have some opportunities in the system, so we're going to go ahead and colonize the food and water. And this is an asteroid that we can tell this planet to harvest. We have to select Nemos here, and we can tell it to change it into a mining base. I'm just trying to remember which is better. Iron. Okay, so aluminum is best for construction and pressure capacity. So that's what we want. We're going to do an aluminum mining base to help with building. Now if we go to the planet itself, you can see we've already started on the construction of that. And we have no cash. Fortunately, our mining bases only require labor to produce. But we can take out loans, and we're going to do that in order to build our first scout and our first miner, but we're not going to use the current designs because they suck. So we're going to get rid of these. We're going to import the Blackbird, which I've named after the SR-71, and is literally the fastest scout in the game, using up every space possible to maximize its capabilities. Now it requires 4 shields and a command bridge because the game requires you have as much prayer as you have control. So it requires about 2 control. Actually, maybe it'll make it a little faster even. So that's the smallest we can get control down into, and now that's the fastest possible speed we can achieve. Now size 16, which means it's a very small scout. It's the smallest size we can get for a flagship class vessel, which this is a flagship scout. Fuel capacity isn't that great, but it has speed enough that normally it'll get away from most vessels. I think the reason I actually put the additional 2 shrines on was to double the shield capacity because they were periodically dying. They have no weapons, they cannot defend themselves, all they can do is go, go, go. And 30 units per second should be more enough. I'm going to leave those 2 shields on there because double the shield is always a good, healthy thing. Whenever you encounter a bad situation, you allow it enough time to get out of dodge. So next thing we want to do is import a miner. We've got a fast miner design. We've got a Titan scale version of it, but we just want a small scale version of it to start with. Resize it to 16 like a scout. Uses up all the maximum space, has cargo storage, a mining rate from this giant mining laser, which takes up the most of the front of the ship, and a lot of cargo storage for the cargo, a small shield, just enough to cover the command, control, and it's not very fast, but it's only supposed to travel inside the system, so that's fine. We'll just go up to a rocket, or to a asteroid, mine it, and pull it back. Some reasonable health and supply capacity, which keeps it moving without having to keep coming back for refueling. Even though it'll stay inside of local space, inside of a friendly system, you typically won't see supply be a problem for a miner unless you send it off to another system. Now we also have designs for some stations, so we're going to go ahead and import those. So here's the Missile Bastion. This came from online from somebody else who created it, and it makes it one of the great things about this game is there is a sharing community for design, so if you don't have one of your own, you can just pick one that you like. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put on just enough prayer to cover the demand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to need one more, 6. So now we have enough prayer to cover the demands, and we still have enough supply to cover our missile launchers. And it's got a lot of armor. So just an explanation briefly of what you're seeing here. These giant, this is the launcher itself, and then this is the back end of the launcher, the systems, the deliveries, and this is the storage where they keep the missiles. So they go from the storage into the launcher, out the launch tube, and it does it in 6 directions. This is a hex type design for a station. And this in here is the crew space, bridge and crew. Bridge and crew determine the health, or part of the health, and also the mass, as well as the regeneration rate of the vessel. The higher your control, the higher your regen speed. The missiles generate damage per second. Each one has a specific listing based upon the mount connected to all this. So if you put it on the mount space where the hard point is, it'll tell you what the core has for DPS, reload, damage, range, and speed. All these stats can be modified by technology. And there's the different armor types. You have ablative, which has high damage resistance and is used to reduce incoming laser and missile fire. Effective against many small hits. High damage resistance. Now the silver are high health, but their damage resistance is pretty flat. And then you have reactive armor. This explodes once it's exposed and reduces damage significantly from incoming missiles. Basically, each plate has a damage threshold, and if the incoming fire is greater than the damage threshold of the reactive armor plates, it'll actually reduce it significantly. Basically, critical hits. It stops crits. So if you have a torpedo come in, a giant torpedo instead of a missile, torpedoes have large blast areas, so these are great against large one-hit attacks like the torpedo warheads and missile warheads. For a constant barrage like a laser or a railgun, the reactive just isn't going to be as effective. So your blue stops your constant stream attacks, your red stops your high DPS one-shots, and your silver is just structure and health. In summary, we are a gate-driven society, but we don't actually need a gate. We already have a dedicated gate system, so you'll never see the gate drive put on almost any other ship except for a dedicated warp gate. So we'll go ahead and save the missile bastion, but we're going to resize it because early game 300 is quite huge. We want to do 128 on it. Actually, we'll do 256. It works a lot like the bit scaling in reality, like 8-bit, 156. So if you use these even numbers, you're going to get even stats, whereas if you use odd numbers, you're going to get partial fractionals. Oh, and if you put something out in the middle of space, I'm going to tell you it doesn't like it. There are other types of control too. So you've got your bridge and crew, you've got your shrines, you got your supply, which provides supply capacity in terms of missiles and armaments. You have your support command, which allows you to have escort vessels nearby, which this is purely a missile loadout, so you're not going to see any escort ships for this station. It's purely relying on its own defenses. Different types of generators for power, and this station doesn't appear to really have a power demand because the missile weapons do not use electrical supply. They're a purely physical weapon, and the prayer is generated by the shields, the shrines here. Those don't actually require electric like a traditional shield, like an EM shield, so you don't have to have electric for that either. And Space Cat says hello. These are our different weapon types. You got lasers, missile launchers, railguns, rockets, and torpedo launchers, each with their own distinct advantages. And of course you have cargo storage for mining rigs, and you have a mining laser which you can mount on them. Space Cat, get out of that. You're not supposed to be in there. And Missile Bastion's actually accidentally put itself in the wrong area, so we want to change its class. We got 4 different classes: combat, which are ships; stations, which are stationary vessels; exploration, which are scouts and mining vessels; and then gates, which are warp gates. Pretty self-explanatory. So we just save that, and now we've got in the proper grouping here. You also have tractor beams. These are used to move physical objects around or idled ships. So if I put for example, Missile Bastion, which has no engines, into a place where I didn't like it, I wanted to move it, I'd have to build a tractor and have that tractor go out and drag it to its new position. Just like all the other ships, you can resize, rebuild these things, and the bigger the tractor, the bigger the ship it can tow, and the bigger the engines, the faster it does it. Pretty self-explanatory on that as well. Now these initial designs, I don't like them. They're not very efficient, so we're going to just get rid of them. And we are going to import our own weapons systems. So this is my early battleship design. It has a layered armor, and then it has structural armor, and it kind of divides the system into sections so that if one section is breached, it can be made up for by the others. It's the same design, roughly, but no animator yet unlocked. Okay, so we need our beam design. We just want our default early ships. I may redesign that one slightly. I don't like one aspect of it. I'll explain in a moment. I think we got all of them. Let's see. We have missiles, we have beams, we have we have railguns, and we have heavy railgun, or heavy gunship, which is a mix of laser and rail. Just check the obsolete design, make sure we have all the replacements for all the classes. Dreadnought's just another name for a battleship. Same for the heavy carrier. We got our missile boat, our gunship, our beam ship, our heavy guns. Yep. We have replaced all designs as we want to. We will obsolete that list. Put it back on put the obsolete list back in place. You can choose which ships to show by either marking them delete or marking them obsolete or not. Now, one thing I've found in an early game is that having a ship design less than 96 is really not useful. And it's best to have these escorts at size 16 rather than 8 initially, because the enemy is going to start automatically trying to outbuild your size right away. It will increase their initial cost, but there's a way to quickly get your fleet off the ground, and I'll explain that in a moment too once we restart time and get some pieces of equipment in place that we need. This heavy gunship, I really don't like its design, so we're going to make some modest repairs to it if we can. Primarily, what I'd like to do is something like this. railguns are slightly stronger. And we have a section ship. Now it's going to increase the cost due to the extra armor and such, but I don't see that as a huge negative. We got really good angle of attack on these side mounts, so we don't have to worry about that. And that looks a ton better. Gives us more armor on the front, more coverage, isolates the weapon systems to keep a shell from simply passing straight through a ship. Also put some armor on the back side. You never know always what angle you're going to be involved in a fight from. Most of the hits will come from the front though. You also have a speed consideration, so we're going to have to check our speed on that ship again just to make sure we haven't dropped it too low. We want our speed to be around 2 units per second. That'll keep it up with the flagship. Well, if your fleet just, flies off in all sorts of different directions, doesn't properly stay together, then you have another problem. We can't increase. Well, what we could do is try to increase the engine size slightly on the interior, or reduce our damage per second rate, but not be worth it. There we are, and it's almost close enough to 2 that we can get away with it. Do we need that much control? No, we do not. I got an idea what we can do with the control. Wow, is it still? Oh, I put that. Put back the same thing. Thank you. There we are, 2.17. Right where we want it. See if this one's 2. Oh no, this one definitely needs some engine increases. Control, definitely going to have to remain where it's at, but we're going to move it. Let's see. And there we are, we're back at 2. Trying to keep these two of roughly equal strength. DPS 3.85, 3.85, and 3.57. About as good as she gets. No, I don't know why I use multiple rocket engines. I guess it's just in case one gets knocked out, it can still maneuver, but the thing is, this thing's going to be at the back of the fleet most of the time. Control is excessive. As is the rear armor. Now all this counts as external armor. That's why we have it all at the front. It makes it difficult to destroy from front-end bombardment. Whoa. Guess it won't let me redraw it like that. I'll have to do it manually. That looks a little better. We still have a speed problem though. So what we're going to do is just start bringing back the noodle hole, flattening it out until we get dimensions we want. I guess it's very close. Not quite there though. We'll have to change something. Oops. Each side about the same strength. That's what we want. Well, I prefer to have the weak one up front. So what we're going to do is this. There we go. And what that lets us do is reposition this. And now it's at the size it needs to be. And due to the single engine on the back, we can't include it that way. Interesting. Can't include it that way. Now, I got an issue with these single gun designs. They're great for DPS, but that nose shot, if that nose piece gets knocked out, it can no longer fire. So we want to do this. And then we want to do this. Now, the key to the survival of the ship is keeping the flagship out of a direct line of a no armor area, because the shots will come straight through them. .14, and this side is at 0.52. Now they're even, but we need to find 2 more interior spaces to use. I figured out what I was doing wrong the other day, Teague. I went back and practiced some because I had been out of play for a while. And I realized I hadn't been building the outpost to actually build the escort ships, which is kind of important early game. What I'm doing right now is I'm fine-tuning the fleet to travel at 23.5 units per second. Or actually it's 2 units per second. Because what you want is you want your escorts to travel at the same speed as your capital ships. If they don't, things get out of whack and your fleet is strewn out across half the galaxy. So if you give them all the same top speed, and you want your escorts a little faster than your flagship. So this one moves at 1 unit per second. So with the escort moving at 2, they roughly move 2 times as fast as the flag, which is roughly where you want it. They can maneuver in a fight that way. What I'm doing right now is I'm just in the process of making sure all the designs are current before we actually start time and get the game going. We also need to lay out our research here. And the first thing we want is these mega cities. They are very important for managing pressure on the planet. And we've got our initial attitude already going, but we don't have any income on FTL, power, or influence at the start of the game, and we start out pro. Alright, so we've now got everything configured the way we want to start. And we've got ships en route now to the nearby planets. So let's go ahead and speed things up. And we need to produce a scout and a mining ship. Actually, we'll produce 2 scouts. And we want this to be produced before we produce anything else. Alright, we just finished our first Blackbird. So we're going to go ahead and put it on Avoid Fleets. And go ahead and tell it to start exploring these nearby systems. Now, as I said earlier, but you may have missed it too, the Blackbird's the fastest possible early ship design. Well, actually it's only 2 hexes short of the fastest possible. The reason for that, we want reasonably strong shields on board so that if it runs into something, it can at least have a chance of escaping. Alright, now that it has its orders, we'll just re-accelerate. Let it do its thing. And we'll go ahead and set up our interface over here so we can see everything. The other thing I was doing wrong the other day, Teague, is I was over-colonizing too fast. You can get to a point where you strip the population down from sending people to other planets so much that your economy collapses. So I'm going to slow that down this time. Now we've got an explosive start, which is really nice. That means that we're going to have defense points right away. Set our miner on automatic asteroid mining. Go ahead and start colonizing that planet. Go ahead and send these to the Homeworld. And let's see, what do we have up here? We got some gas, we got some influence, and we got a lot of remnant ships. I think I'll avoid that system for now. What do we have here? Ooh. That ship will help later. That will help later game because it'll reduce the cost of our fleet. That'll help later game by turning this into a fortress system. So we got some special system resources over here. Crimin firms, as well as, ooh, that's a huge remnant fleet. What size are these guys? 96, 64, 64. We can survive those, but that guy, we're going to have to build up quite a significant ship to take him on. And we got exotic matter as a tier 3 resource over here. That's going to be useful. And there is a world we definitely want. It's a money producer. Nope, I don't want you to go there first. I want you over here first. These are all of our galaxies over here. We got several of them. Looks like we've actually found a link to one of them. That's a free money world, so we're going to go ahead and send a colonist to that. Alright, we need to slow down a little, work on our homeworld here. First thing I want to do is build a forge on the moon. But we can't afford one yet. We'll have to wait for the next budget cycle. And we now have a new scout. We're going to go ahead and send that scout to the galaxy that we discovered a warp gate to. Since it has no enemy vessels sitting in that system, we'll just pop right through and then we'll send it off to explore. Set this back on auto explore now that we found that other system. And this one has no remnant in it, which is excellent. It means that we'll have a colony of a system we can colonize without threat of life or limb to our colonists. I can move the water and the food onto the explosives planet here, have it start growing, put it in line with the Homeworld. We're going to need another food item for the Homeworld to grow with, so let's look for another food planet here to send people to. Got one this system, it doesn't have any hostiles in it, so we'll send it there. I saw our scout zip through the warp gate, so we'll go ahead and start exploring this new galaxy over here. Best it's best to explore food and water in pairs, but if you have extra food, that's also useful, because food is what determines the upgrades to a particular world's level. See, there's 5 food required for every planet to max it out. So we're going to throw up another Blackbird because we found a path to the core galaxy. Oh, and found another path to yet another galaxy up here. We're going to need a lot of Blackbirds. That one only has a small fleet guarding it too. Our budget has really gone through the roof, which is good. It means that our people are colonizing at roughly the same rate we're expanding, which is what we want to see. Now we need an outpost, because the outpost is what generates our defense points and allows us to build starships, like the small escort vessels you see here. Like our new Blackbird is ready, so we're going to go ahead and send that to the Galactic Core Galaxy here. This system has no enemy fleets in it, so it'll be safe to move to it. Things are moving just a little fast, so we're just going to slow things down a little bit. See what our other system. Okay, so this scout has really picked up a lot of stuff over here. I don't see any special resources in this galaxy as of yet that we're particularly interested in. Checking these other systems down through here. And this one also doesn't have anything spectacular. But what it does have is a bunch of systems that are not filled with hostile ships. And apparently this ship is so fast that traveling directly to the core galaxy is faster than traveling through the wormhole, which is kind of surprising. We're going to scrap the orbital outpost in favor of a factory if we can. Can't do it yet. We'll have to wait for the next budget cycle. Looks like we have some influence. We're going to go ahead and take an extra attitude with that. Now, materialism is important at this stage because what it does is it allows you to send colony ships out faster. They move faster. So the objective with materialism is to invest money into it. And as you invest money into it, what happens is it gets stronger and stronger. Actually, I screwed up there. Go back to the autosave here right quick. I wanted to do generosity because of the influence power. More important than colony ships moving faster. Fortunately, that sets us back very far at all. Matter of fact, I'll take the opportunity to put in factories instead of building more starships. That's one factory laid down. That'll help get our mining base built faster. That's a free influence world, so we'll go ahead and set it to colonize. Free labor world. Where are our scouts at? Let's see here. Uh-oh, we made contact with the species, and I think this may be their home system. There's their fleeing beacon. And that is some nice planets. I think this one actually goes through. Ah, okay, that's how you got there. Well, that's going to become an extremely important system, so we're going to make sure that gets colonized. Because it leads us directly to the core galaxy. I think this scout may be done exploring our galaxy. Let's see, do we have 10 systems? Yes, we do. So we're done with this galaxy. So in order to send it somewhere where it'd be useful, we will send it over here. That one's going to be rather important too. It's also got a wormhole in it. Attitudes. We want to take generosity. Go ahead and get some money flowing here. So we got that 5 bonus influence points from being the first person to contact that species. So every time you contact a new species, you get 5 bonus influence. Very critical early game. No, that's not what I wanted you to do. Go up here. Then warp through that one, and that'll put you in the middle of the central galaxy. Looks like we got another special. Oh, that's FTL crystals. Well, that'll guarantee our FTL supply. Another labor world. Looks like we got our factory built, which is good. It means we got some labor going. I just got to get our population up. The next thing I want to do is try to build a research and development complex. And get our free money world going here. And we just expanded our trade system. Looks like we made first contact with somebody else. Let's set that scout to colonize. Set that scout to colonize. Now we need to get some cheap. We need to get some cheap influence cards here, because if we get cheap influence cards, we can actually unlock more attitudes. Come on. I purchased that. It didn't give it to me. It's a shame we don't have that much influence, because that would be awesome. Innovations are tech tree unlocks that you can only get through diplomacy. Let's see what we got on this particular galaxy. So far I don't see too much in the way of specials on either of these galaxies. Or we just hit the core galaxy, so we should be finding a bunch of stuff. Alright, back to the Homeworld. Homeworld needs more food. Is there food world up? Yeah, food world up for colonization, so we're good. Budget's coming back into the positive very quickly. And we got some more labor pressure now in the Homeworld due to the creation of that asteroid mine. See, we can build another asteroid mine here. Let's see. We don't have any power income yet, so we're going to go ahead and create a uranium one here. And the Homeworld's having pressure issues, and that means that we need to build a metropolis when we get the opportunity. The reason it's having pressure issues, though, is merely because its population is way too low right now. And that's going to take our population to level 2. That'll help a lot with our budget issues. Yes, I am going to definitely need the outpost. But I don't have the funds to build it quite yet. We're having a food scarce start. We didn't have a lot of food planets nearby that weren't guarded. But with that problem's been remedied, and we're starting to get income now. Uh-oh, one of our scouts got destroyed by something. It wasn't the one in the Galactic core. That's the good news. Now what we need now is one more scout. The reason that we need this scout is to go around and activate some of the bonuses that are nearby. You'll see these little derelicts, like, let me find one here. Right here, this debris field, they contain freebies and bonuses. So we're going to go check those out and see if they give us anything. Well, that can really help us out in the start if we get something good. Since they're not escorted, that means they're safe to open. And we made first contact with yet another race, but fortunately we were not the first, apparently. And our scout's ready. We'll send it to scan that one first since it's nearest. Come on, budget. Come on, people. Get moved in. We need more planets. Okay, so we got more food now. That'll complete the influence world, so we'll start generating influence, which will help us get moving. And we've got another labor planet now coming online, which will help us start building faster. Actually, that was the... is that the asteroid? Oh, okay. So we're importing the uranium as a tier 2 resource. That's good. We need one more food and we can make that a tier 3 planet, which will really boost our income. Actually, I know exactly how to fix that. We're going to throw out the first food we got here. Wait, I think it requires the influence stake too. Yep, so we're going to have to find another food, something separate. Which it looks like we're colonizing another food anyway. And our scout has just arrived at the derelict and starting its scan. And our economy has now expanded to a second galaxy. Oh, that one has remnants near it, I think. Nope. Is that a remnant fleet? Yep, that's a remnant fleet. We'll scan the one on the other side of this, or we'll colonize the one on the other side of the system. So what I'm doing now is I'm rapidly expanding near another race, and I'm doing that intentionally in the hopes that I can prevent them from expanding too far. Because if you can cut them off early, it keeps them from becoming a big threat. Like somebody's visiting our system here. Yeah, it's a scout for one of the foreign empires here. And we're going to start seeing our incomes on these worlds coming up now that they're starting to get population. It can make them hate me, that's for sure. So I better end up with bigger ships than they have. And we are starting to generate influence, which is good. We have another food and water world coming online. That'll take this planet to level 3. The levels basically determine the overall production economically of a planet. So a low level, like a level 1, produces like 50 money per turn. Then level 2 is like 150. Then like a level 3 is like 300k, something crazy like that. And it goes up exponentially with the level of development of the world or the planet. What I can't figure out is why they're taking so long to get where they're going. Yeah, our budget's finally going into the green. The planets are finally getting big enough. That anomaly ever finish? Okay, let's see what we got. And we just got a whole bunch of science unlocked by that. Go scan the next one. I'm actually going to stop colonizing for a little bit. We may be overdoing the colonization effort. We need to let our economy catch up. There we go, there's our budget back. Now we'll start making big money because our population's growing and we're not overdrafting. Now what you're going to see here are planets that have the ability to colonize. So we will select them and individually assign them different tasks. And we got a metropolis one that'll help use some of the pressure that we've been building up. See, this is the pressure capacity. It's the economic strength of a planet. The economy, though, can only be supported by its base population. So the number you see on the right is the amount that it can actually utilize of the available economy. And the number on the left is the economic potential. So what you have to do is you have to build enough cities and enough metropolises to support the pressure in order to get full utilization out of your economy. So basically my economy is burning up right now and I don't have enough people to man all the factories. But that is about to change quickly. Now let's see what we need next on the development list for this one. So we need another food, a level 1 and a level 2. So we want to toss some food on it. And we'll look for a level 1 to colonize, and then a level 2. There's this good level 1. It'll need food, water to go with it. And there's this a level 2. And that's going to need food as well. Alright, now we have enough to build our outpost, so we'll go ahead and do that. Get our defense. Well, our defense is already going due to the explosives, but we still need an outpost. Now you can figure out what your economy is going to produce by the amount of pressure on the planet. So if you go over here, look at the pressure, it'll tell you what your total imported pressure capacity is, but it doesn't give you a breakdown as to what it is. So we got 7 pressure just from uranium. So we should start producing electrical power in the future. You'll have enough room for additional metropolises. The other thing we need to get going is our research. So as soon as the budget ticks over, we will build a new metropolis and a new research facility. Alright, we have some food available, so we just need to assign it. So we know it needs a tier 2, and a tier 2 is going to need a tier 1 resource beneath it. 2 food, a water, and then the tier 1 is going to need a water, and it's also going to need a food, so we're going to have to find another food. Here's, we have plenty of food out here. And something happened to our anomaly. Oh, here we are. More research. And we're getting close to mega cities, which is kind of important. Here's more electrical power for free. Some planets do not require food and water to produce their base resource. Alright, so now that we can build them, let's go ahead and toss up our research facility. And it won't let me do a metro on top of that, so we'll have to wait on that. we just got our other food, so we'll toss that underneath this tier 1. Now we should have a tier 2 that will come online as soon as the population develops high enough, and the population on this tier 1 develops high enough. So the empire is starting to come together. That should put us at tier 4. Oh, we need one more tier 1 for tier 4. So any more tier 1s in this particular galaxy, or are we going to have to stretch out and reach our hand across to another? Nope, there's one right here, but the problem is it's guarded right now. We'll have to build our first battleship to be able to get that one. And we might have problems colonizing that particular galaxy. Alright, tier 1s. Do we have any over here? Tier 3. There's a tier 1 we can grab. I'll hop away though. Not starting with the initial starting fleet can be a bit challenging. Alright, we got our metro going up. That'll increase our pressure capacity even further. Let's see if we have any asteroids we can upgrade now. That's an FTL asteroid. No, that's rare material. That'll be research. Alright, our research is off the ground due to us producing that research factory. We have a new metro in place, so we'll start building even more pressure. Our influence is going. Go ahead and get our another card here, and that should even give us more influence. You get goals on these, and if you complete the goals, you get a bonus. So, starting to really take off here. It's really looking good. We'll be building warships soon. And it looks like we just met another civilization. We may be getting set to build our first warship. We're actually getting a very strong budget. Matter of fact, what we're going to do is we're going to build a shipyard if we can. Like we don't have those unlocked yet, so we can't do that quite yet. Then we'll do another metro on the planet because we need more metro space. Each metro provides 5 pressure, so with this last metro we will be able to max out our planet's economy. This is called Star Ruler 2. In my opinion, it's one of the best 4X games you can play. You can customize your ship down to the hex level. It's got a very complex planetary economic system. Ooh, our influence. We're now generating 24% of the total influence in the entire, well, throughout all the systems. If we can get with if we can get 2 stakes of influence before 6 seconds, I'll be able to grab this innovation card. I don't think it's going to happen. Ooh, never mind. We got it. Let's see what we just unlocked. We just unlocked the Colossus Hole. Oh my god, epic. Once we get down there, we will be able to do some really serious stuff with that. Matter of fact, I'm going to start going down the... well, we'll do that after we get hydroponic satellites, which help develop our economy. Economy is everything in this game. You're only as strong as your planets allow you to be. One thing we have a shortage on right now appears to be electrical production for whatever reason. We want to save up, see if we can get some more attitudes now. We got more money coming in. We need another water world. Fortunately, there are plenty of those around. I'm going to build a shipyard. What a shipyard does, it allows you to build ships at half price, basically. Completing that shipyard right now is more important than completing that mining base. It looks like we have more asteroids up here we can develop too. Let's see. We'll just queue those up at the Homeworld. Hey, our power production's finally come online, so we'll start being able to use our artifacts here soon. See how the global strength race is going. Wow, Oko really gotten powerful. They almost always do somehow. Alright, now once these other planets get their populations up after they grow a little, we'll then be at level 4, which will set us for growth and for money for a long time. Level 5 is the maximum level a planet can get to, so level 4 is nearly epic. Like Coruscant from Star Wars. Alright, so this is our shipyard. So we're going to start using defense for our home system here. You'll notice that now that we have defense coming in, our fleets are building up real nicely around our planets. And we're going to give the shipyard a production order once we get the money to do so, which should be after this turn. Actually, there's another way we can do this. We're going to go ahead and queue it up for production, and then we will tell the shipyard to contribute to its building. And we will export the planet's labor to the shipyard. And we just got more research. And we can now get more attitudes. So for attitudes, we are going to go for progressive. So the next time we research something on the tech tree, it's going to unlock even more research capability. Now, one of the reasons we look so weak right now is we haven't got our first fleet completed yet. When that does happen, our power is going to jump. And our first battleship is going to be pretty freaking massive. Haven't even touched that system yet because of the remnant there. Oh boy. Now what we're doing is we're ramping up the production from the asteroid and throwing it into the planet, which is then converting it into labor, which is then throwing it into the shipyard, which is then throwing it in producing the warship at the dry dock here. So relay to relay to relay makes it a very efficient process. And we now have crazy amounts of labor. First thing you do is clear the remnants so that you don't have to worry about you see some of these worlds are being blockaded right now, which causes a big problem with your economy. You have to clear those out first. Basically, you don't want to start a war until your own backyard's clean. Battleship's close to done. It's 81%. Your planets won't level up unless they have all the resources they need, and if they don't have all the resources they need, then they kind of get stuck. We need to go unlock more attitudes. That could be useful. That could also be really useful. That one's even better. We'll need some more influence to get that second one. Now what I typically do is I tell the game to start using defense points to guard systems which have warp gates and slipstream gates in them. Because that's where people are going to come through from the other galaxies. Oh man, I'm really worried about the Okano. They're getting big, fat, and ugly. It's getting there, just taking its glorious time. Now, the first ship I'm building is relatively large, which is a good thing. That's why it's taking so long. Where's my scout at? Why is it all the way over here? Oh well, let's leave it there. That's going to help unlock other stuff. I need another scout though, so I can unlock some more of those 3 items. And I can't build one yet. Still in the process of building a battleship. Something is really stunning my growth. Why is it having such a hard time? Thinking maybe I should start with the default fleets in place because this is getting painful. Not being able to clear out the remnant? Yeah. But we are almost to the point where we have our last attitude, which is going to help a lot. Why is our budget so red? I think we just don't have enough monetary resources. Look at some of these other galaxies and see what we can colonize to help with this problem. I think that's the one that goes to our system. Yep, we can still branch out down here. And we've got our last attitude. Which means we can now actually use our diplomacy for diplomacy. No, I want to restart this because I screwed up. Yeah, this just expanded way too fast. Don't know how far back it'll let me go though. The answer is not very far. But hey, we're at a positive, so maybe that'll be enough. Alright, so we're just going to stop colonizing right here. while we have money. And the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure we always have enough metropolises to actually do what we want to do. This thing right here is called a megacity, and megacities replace a bunch of the small cities. What they allow you to do is it actually also gives you a bonus to all the resources in production. I should have built one of these a long time ago. Rather than that battleship. Okay, that'll help a lot. Alright, we're going to take the collectivism first because we need to rapidly build these asteroid mining bases. Hey, love. Coming home? Tell me when you get here, okay? Alright, remember to park wherever your visitor parking is. I'm in the middle of a stream. I got to go. Anything urgent you need to tell me? I need a Milky Way thing, and yeah, I got other, we got other food, so you're good on food because we got Papa John's. Love you, bye. Alright, we got that Mega City built. And that has dramatically helped our economy. Okay, now we can actually start working on that battleship. And we were able to play that battleship in full this time. One shot. We didn't have to make multiple payments. So it's just going to be built until it's built, and then we'll have it. Woohoo! First battleship, we can take on the Remnant and trash them quite handily. And that'll solve our economic issues as well. Okay, so go ahead and fast forward it. Now we need to set a research path. We got enough research now to go wherever we want, it looks like. Just realized I can just unlock that one. Woohoo! Free tech. And that allowed orbital reconstruction to be completed. And then that allowed us to queue up hydroponic satellites. We also need solar power badly. So we'll start on that path too. We need another water world. We got an awkward world out there. If you see a world that only has a partial circle around it, it means it only got partially colonized. So we'll resume those now that we got our battleship produced. And everything is running as planned now. We got 5 defense a minute being produced, 2 research a minute, 4 tech, 4 influence, which is a quarter of the galaxy's overall production. So we're doing good now. So the big problem was I simply had to build a megacity, and we really badly needed one. Oh, the battleship's done. Holy cow. Alright, let's go defeat some remnant. You watching, Teague? It's fun time. Next thing we want to do is build a warp gate. We want to build it at the Homeworld, and then we want to build another warp gate over near the black hole, near the wormholes. That way we can do instantaneous travel between them. Now this one system has 3 remnant fleets, so this is going to be kind of fun. They summed together have about as much strength as my sole battleship. Battleship is moving, it's just very, very slow until it gets reoriented and is ready to actually jump. And now it's really going to start picking up speed. Got a load of escorts, dude. Loads upon loads of escorts. But that one ship is, I think, almost 2 times the size of these. Yep, twice their size, except for that one. And it's half again its size. Now, if a planet says it has a disabled resource, it means that there's something blockading it. We're about to fix all those blockades very quickly. Well, as quickly as this battleship moves. Oh, it lacks water. Oh, I see what I did. I'm an idiot. Put 2 food instead of 2 water on that planet. We need more water. This is close to level 5. We only need a couple more resources on it. Okay, we're about to have contact between the remnant fleet and the main fleet. Main fleet's already fired its first torpedoes. Enemy fleet looks so big and formidable, but it's going to get torn apart by this fleet. See, just by building this one battleship, we've already jumped 300 points in strength. That's a lot of energy clashes for one card. I'm not going to pass that up for that much. Scouts, the raiders are starting to engage already. The heavy gunships are moving out. And the enemy's already starting to take damage, and they are just withering under fire. This is where it gets fun. They are really hammering that one ship. The Mark 16, though, and it's got really heavy armor, they're barely chewing through it. On the other hand, their ships are just, well, they're explosions. They're dying so fast that I mouse over them and they're already dead. That's the enemy flag right here. We'll zoom in to see its damage that it's taking. Sorry, it's starting to take hits on its port bow, and it's getting hits over near its railgun as well. Now, the raiders, they fly up and around the ship and flank it. So you've got a heavy gunship here that's flew over the enemy fleet and is actually firing down on top of it. Theorists over here, this ship right here, that is the flagship. It's the largest ship they have in this group. It's a command vessel. Yes, you can slow it down to the point where you don't get overwhelmed. Also for cinematic effect. I like to watch the battles up close. So I'll bring the time down to 0-1 and watch all the shells come in and watch where they impact. Because it's just a glorious miss. You got a missile boat here and it's just firing its missiles at the ships that have moved behind its fleet. So they're trying to stop my flankers that have gone behind here. Now, as the enemy fleet loses strength, you'll notice it go down here, as well as the health of the ships that I'm highlighting. The Theorist is still at 2.5k out of 3.3k health, but that's pretty serious damage. That's about a third of their ship wiped out, and its strength is rapidly decreasing as its guns get taken out. Right now, its entire left side is almost chewed off. My ship's shields haven't even been penetrated yet. It has 1,000 total shield points and it's only down to 890, so the enemy is literally getting their butts handed to them. There is no doubt about it. This is like an unparalleled fight. I start off at 10k, I'm still at 9.5. They started off at 3 and they're down to 6. And part of that is ship design. If you design your ships well to absorb damage, and like mine has the shields as well as the really heavy armor, combine that together, it's really hard to kill them. But they move really slow too. So I'm going to have a larger fleet in the end, at the end game, to control more space than most people would have if they had lighter ships. But the payoff is that your fleet doesn't just get obliterated out of hand. Yeah, definitely how you don't want to be the battles to go if you're the enemy, or if you're on the receiving end. Definitely how you want them to go for the enemy. Now this is one of my bean ships. It just took a blow to its front quarter, but it just hit an armor panel. They're barely getting scratched. Now some of these ships are the ships that the game preloads you with as defense for your homeworld, like the size 8, size 4s. Those, if they die, I don't care. They will get replaced by better ships. Looks like we're going to get some free research points when we kill these guys too. That's what they're guarding, is a research data center. You know, the Theorist is doing. Oh, Theorist just had its warp core breach, or whatever core they use there. It exploded so large that it destroyed ships around it of its own fleet. Glorious boom. The station is a research data center. It's what they're guarding. They guard treasures, things they've captured. So once you destroy them, think of them like pirates. So once you get rid of the pirates, you get whatever the pirates were guarding. So once I kill off the remainder of this remnant fleet, which is now guarded, this station's only guarded by a gunship now. Once all of them are dead, I can go over and seize this research data. Now this up here is what's happening in the Senate. It tells you how long to the next influence update, and also tells you what's available for cards to purchase, so you don't have to always visit the diplomacy screen to see everything. Now this fleet's almost wiped out. The real fun's kind of gone. You'll notice some of my heavy raiders have already gone out behind the enemy fleet where they were destroying things, but now they are unfortunately getting ambushed because the other remnant woke up and is on its way here. That's the size 96. It's slightly tougher than the fleet we just killed, but it'll still go down just as hard. So I've given orders to the flag now to go ahead and engage the second remnant fleet, which is too late to save its brothers. They're all dead. Hopefully this thing will escape and get its butt out of there. It's got a lot of missiles following it. Check out its health levels. Yeah, it's taking damage to its engines right now. That's where all the missiles are starting to get. This one looks like it's going to unfortunately go up soon. It's really taking a lot of fire. Its entire blade of rear shield is gone, or rear armor is gone. Its engines are knocked out, and it has damage starting to go into its railgun section. Fortunately, that fleet here is starting to catch up to it, and the enemy's starting to come into volley range from our fleet. Almost got the last remnant of this first fleet totally wiped. Just a few pieces left. Oh, that almost had a hit to the flagship, or to the bridge. Oh, it just took a hit to the bridge. It's gone. Yeah, when you get that far out on your own, and the enemy fleet's so close, ooh, this is going to be fun. Here comes the other one. So all three remnant fleets are now closing in on our main here. So we know these planets are going to be safe to colonize relatively soon, so I'm going to go ahead and give the order. Flagship hasn't even been scratched yet. His shields are actually growing back in place because of the delay between the fleets engaging. So by the time these guys get here, its shields are likely to be back to full strength. And we just fired torpedoes, it looks like. Torpedoes are big blast effect weapons. They have a radius of effect. They only fire so often, and they're meant to take out large sections of the fleet. I'm going to speed things up just a little. That's the torpedoes exploding. You'll notice all these little stars around it. Those are enemy ships detonating from the torpedo hit. They're like nukes. Think of them like nukes. Now he's really plowing into my flag right now, but the ship's shields held out, so no actual serious damage. His escorts are almost depleted. Hey, my flag is finally starting to take damage. How about that? Let's go take a look at where. Ooh, something big went straight through this piece of this laser beam. He got a lucky hit. Fortunately, it won't mean much for him. His fleet is dying like crazy. So the remnant Kalaros' escorts are pretty much gone. It's now taking a lot of fire. However, we got the problem that the other remnant ship is about to show up. Whoa, did my flag just blow up? Surely not. They must have got a lucky hit. Must have got it through the command center because... yeah, the flag just went boom. That was completely unexpected. Well, that's what they say about what that's pretty much how battle goes. Sometimes you just get lucky, and boy did they. Fortunately, the distraction is keeping them from intercepting my colony ships, which are now rapidly colonizing that system. So something was gained out of it, at least. No, that one. Well, that was a kind of like a toss-up. I was up against 3 fleets, so I took out one, but the other 2 got me. But at the same time, I've managed to successfully colonize the system. So you put those 2. Well, and also these escorts, since these planets are being colonized, they're going to start getting refueled from the planets, and they'll start regrouping around the planets. So they haven't completely eliminated my presence in the system, so it's kind of a toss-up. You know what this means? It means I got to build something even bigger. Too late, I've already colonized it. They're trying their hardest to stop me. And we are now having a godless problem, but that's going to be okay once the planet levels up, which will be soon because we now have water going to that world that needed it. Our economy will really, really start flying now. Plus, our shields are being boosted by research, so our next battleship's going to be a lot stronger. You know, I really want those bulkheads. I need them badly. We are going to cancel this, cancel that, and focus on the bulkheads. Bulkheads allow you to put a partition between weapons and the interior of the ship, and that makes the flag much stronger and not likely to do what it just did and pop just on a lucky shot. Basically, think of it as critical hit shielding. And we can get another attitude. Let's get that one. I think it's probably on your end. It's looking okay over here. I mean, nothing's really increased processing power or anything like that. This game's running really smooth. OBS isn't redlining. Must just be internet. Twitch being Twitch. Go ahead and start on our first warp gate here. Also looks like we need another mega city. And that's going to cost too much more than what we have right now, so we'll have to wait. And our economy is really kicking it now. Oh, we just hit class 4. Yay! Been waiting for that for a while. Which browser are you using? Are you using Adobe? Are you using Firefox? Are you using Chrome? If you're using Firefox, you use Adobe Player, you might be able to right-click and increase your buffer size. That makes things stream a lot smoother. Look at that. Big money coming in now. That's what we've been waiting on. Now what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to take my battleship and double its size. Okay. How far away from bulkheads? Not far. And that's really good. Our first million, yay! Now what we're going to do is we're going to wait for bulkheads to become unlocked, because once we have bulkheads, what we can do then is actually put those on the battleship, which will greatly increase its overall power, and then build a $1.4 million battleship. Alright, bulkheads are researched. We just got bulkheads. I am stoked. The bulkheads prevent shells from just simply passing through systems so easily. They put one behind each weapon system here, and it keeps it from going directly through the ship. Also increases the cost of the ship just slightly, but nothing too serious. That'll be just a moment. I will be right back. Alright, back in business here. Just had to go to a quick bathroom break. Alright, so let's go ahead and speed things back up a little bit. Alright, so we just updated our early battleship. It now has bulkheads. I'll let you read what bulkheads do here. So basically it strengthens the subsystem so that bullets don't just pass right through, which dramatically increases the overall strength of the ship. The only thing you can't place these on are support and supply nodes. Alright, now that we've updated our warship, let's go ahead and produce a new one. Remember, we're doing twice the size of our original ship. We'll probably have to do it through the shipyard here. Where's the shipyard at? I think shipyards are maybe one-time use, which is why it's gone. Alright, so let's just build one straight up. 1.8 million, we're going to need some more money. But we can go ahead and start partially building it. It's going to take a couple of cycles before we're going to be able to finish it. Well, it's a huge ship. It's going to have a large sum of escorts. And our power is rapidly catching up to our peers now. And one of the things I really want more than anything, I want the shield harmonizer. Now what the shield harmonizer does is it extends the shield of the flagship to its escorts. So you can get partial shielding on the escorts from the flagship. The escorts are too small to host their own shield generators. So it's important to have a little bit on them. To absorb hits with. Build another metro to max out the pressure capacity of the Homeworld. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build another warp gate, because we're going to need one for this wormhole at the center of the galaxy. And we'll take our last attitude, which is warmongering. Now we can actually start dealing in diplomacy. Hopefully we'll be able to finish our battleship up now. And we have our flag to 100%. Build a new outpost over in the wormhole system. And welcome aboard, Paul. That will be completed pretty soon. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to get down to Titan holes and Colossus holes. So we're going to go this way because it also gives us liquid armor. Where's the antimatter generator? We need that too. Alright, we got our research configured for a while. Planets are all looking really healthy. Economy's doing great now, Teague, and we've got a Titan that is, or a battleship that's almost done. We've just set up our research to go to Titans. Oop, and it just came off the line. That is a monster. 64,000 strength. We also just built a gate over at the center wormhole over here, so we can now directly jump between systems. We're going to finish cleaning this one up. And we should be able to start on a second fleet not too long from now. Also, we've got all of our attitudes complete. So all we have to do now is start working on our diplomacy. So we can start picking up all these negotiation cards and basically killing the diplomatic power of the other species. Yep, this time we're going to win. There's going to be no doubt about it. They're just going to get outright slaughtered. My only concern is the other main species are actually getting very strong. But our research is doing phenomenally good. So I'm hoping that will make the difference. what I did is I just built an orbital frame constructor, and what that does is it allows us to build an orbital cheaper. Let's see what we can build for orbitals right now. Let's see. I do not have a commerce station yet, so we will build that. Ooh, our scouting thing is about to reach level 2, which will greatly increase our population growth. We need another factory. We're still building quite slow. I'm also going to get rid of these metropolises in favor of megacities. Oh, and there's another thing I need to do. I need to build another scout because I just discovered we have a relic in our system that we never did pick up. I'll have to wait till the next budget cycle. Where's our 4 ships at? Okay, so they're closing in really quick. This is going to be so fun to watch. You can queue up orders too, which is really useful. You saw how I just gave it 4 different orders. Ooh, we can name a flagship. Although I need to upgrade it before I actually apply it. Naming a flagship increases its overall battle strength. Whoa, slow down. Well, the flag screwed up and flew right past them. That'll make things interesting. Come on, get turned, flagship. Silly thing. They literally warped right past them. Oh wow. Oh, those were torpedoes going off. Oh, there went more of his escorts. Dude, find your engines. Alright, he's finally countered his inertia and he's coming back. Alright, we got our next mega city built. We now have more pressure capacity than we actually will ever need on this planet, I hope. Alright, now it's going in the right direction again. Build a second orbital frame constructor here. And we will use that to build shipyard. Yes, that's what I needed. Okay, so watch what we do here. We're going to enhance the name flagship. That brings it to 3 stars, the maximum boost you can give a flagship. And we're going to name it the Dragon Emperor Mark 1. And now this ship has been radically improved. And you notice its strength jumped to 78.3. Now, first thing it's going to do is it's going to collect this research. And it has done so. And now it's going to fight this remnant fleet. Which there's practically nothing left but the flagship of. So there's the gunships. They're already out in front, smacking the front of the hull of the enemy flag here. Looks like its armor is almost broken through. Yeah, it's got a hole. Taking hits to the bridge. Hadn't quite gotten into range of the beam ships that are escorting the main capital ship here. Just took a torpedo. And now it is in range of the missile boat. Looks like its missile launch systems are being destroyed and its bridge is about to go. It'll explode here in just a few moments. That's his last bridge. Yep, it's gone. So we'll now pick up that and go on to attack the next remnant. We are now up to Tier 4 on the Homeworld. Maximum production. The way to get to Tier 5 is get another two more Tier 2 worlds. And that's going to require some work. I'm just hitting up all the influence cards I can. We're building up to make a run at the Galactic Senate seat. Looks like the second fleet has engaged and is getting shredded. And I'm not even facing them. Like the main fleet is not even looking in their direction right now. Enemy flag already had one shot almost go through to its fusion core. Our ship hasn't even been touched yet. Shields are still up. We are rapidly catching up on our adversaries. I think it's because of the massive amount of technology we're generating right now. Just noticed we had a couple asteroid mines come online. We can go ahead and build a new gate. We're going to put this gate over, let's see, where's a good spot for it? We'll put it next to this wormhole. Basically, you want warp gates near wormholes in order to allow instantaneous jumping between galaxies. Beerus is absolutely getting wrecked. I'm not even sure we've lost an escort yet on this fight. And there it goes. Dead, dead, dead. Just a matter of eliminating the escorts, and the beam ships are going to clean that up quite nicely. Look at all those beams. This fleet loves its lasers. And all enemies have been destroyed. We picked up our influence. Well, not quite. There's the last gunship way over here. And it relocated the structural matrix to it. So they're going to close in, kill it, and then go on to do the anomaly scan. I want to spend 20% of my influence. Keep sustaining that. Ooh, floating continent. Want that for the Homeworld. Floating continent adds additional space. This down here, this is the floating continent. You can build anything on it and it will move to the next, wherever you're going next. Like, I mean, you can move it around to other planets. It basically floats in space and orbits the planet and serves as an extra continent for the planet. One of the most useful artifacts in the game. Easily. And our attitudes are maturing quite nicely. The only thing that's not matured quite nicely is our conquered planets for warmongering, which will start when we actually begin to go to war with the other races. Which will happen in its own time. We have our second gate built, so our travel system is really starting to work out here. Yeah, it's going to go around. It's going to start killing them all. One by one. We could unlock antimatter with energy, so I'm not going to actually spend research on it. Ooh, we've got booster engine now. Booster engines allow fighters and escorts to move faster in combat than with a normal engine, but they can't. Those particular engines cannot be used when in normal transit. You know, I want to send this to attack the other. Oh god, that guy's huge, but he's not bigger than me. 86 to 17, I'll still beat him despite the fact he's 2 times my size. Sometimes bigger is not always better. This would be one of those cases. I need a scout though. Let's get a scout up. Ships. Give me a Blackbird. I've got tons of spare escorts, dude. Look. This planet is surrounded in them. The Outpost is surrounded in them. Probably the other planets are surrounded in them. If not, I'll make it so that they will be. Basically what happens is when you build a new fleet, whatever ships are in the system will go to the flagship. And then they'll start building new escorts for the homeworld. Oh, they've got plenty of. He's still got. I think he's got his entire escort. Yeah, he's still got his entire support fleet still left. They didn't get destroyed. They didn't get touched. He's got 672 out of 672. He has his full support capacity. They didn't destroy a single ship in the Armada when they fought the Remnant. And when we get this up here, the shield harmonizers, those escorts are going to be almost indestructible. Ooh, 120 research points, and it contains 3 ancient unfinished vessels, which means free ships, free flagships. I will always eat up a free flagship. This could really get our power off the ground. Now this little world is actually very, very important. It reduces the maintenance cost of engines, which means it reduces the overall cost of fleets. And we've got all sorts of tech unlocking. I mean, the actual quality of the alien warships that you unlock from that is not actually controlled by your technology. It's just a random drop. So it's hard to say what we'll get out of that. But what's going to happen is our technology specs, our bonuses are going to be added to whatever hexes are used in the construction of that ship. So there will be boost to it, even if we don't get a ship, that's got all the top of the line, most recent, best weapons yet. Now we're about to come into contact with that remnant, so I'm going to slow things down here so we can watch the battle unfold. We've already got 2 torpedoes en route, but the funny part is our fleet is moving so fast they're outrunning the torpedoes right now. But they're going to break when they go into combat with these guys. See, there's the shipyards for the not quite complete ships. Oh wow, they're size 512 too. That's some big ships. Now that's the one taking the most hits right now. It is getting nailed good. It'll be gone in a few seconds. It's about to have a flagship breach, or a bridge breach. Flag's taking a big punishment too right now. I think I may have just lost 1 support ship. It's looking like they're running. They're trying to get away. Good news is that their engines are unarmored and are taking hits. I guess they saw it was coming, like, we better get out of here. One thing my ship doesn't have in its favor is that it is very slow. Ooh, we got another innovation. Let's see what we unlocked. Ooh, flare bomb. These are fun. Unfortunately, they take a lot of research. You can destroy stars to destroy entire systems. Actually, I don't think that might have been his ship that blew up. Yep, he was the one who lost a asset, not me. Okay, this flagship doesn't have a lot of support supplies on it, so I'm going to drop a new support station there. Once it builds, they'll start resupplying the ship. What sounded like a bad idea that was for good, you said? Oh, where's our Blackbird at? We need to send that thing to anomalies. Oh, it's already scanning one. 28% done. Yeah, our attitudes are coming. Yay, population growth is up by 30%. One more research unlock and we get more faster than light production. Oh, that. The flare bomb? That thing's fun. It wipes out the entire population of a solar system but leaves the planets intact. So basically you drop this thing onto a star, it kills off all life in the system with a solar flare, and then you come in and recolonize it with your own people. Very, very evil, but very, very effective. That that remnant fleet was like, nope, 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 nope. I need to check and see if there's any new toys I can put on these. I don't think they can do. Nope. They cannot do bulkheads, but they can do boosters. Let's do this. Where's my swap replace tool? There, now it can actually go up to much higher speeds in a fight. And what we'll do here is we'll have to paint a new one in because we're at max space. We need to check out what the max speed of this flagship is too to make sure we're not throwing them off that. Check that right quick. So it's 1.69 is top speed, so we can do anything above 1.69 for our escorts. So 2 is good. There we go. So we're just giving them all new booster engines to make them more maneuverable in combat. It actually improves their survivability because they can dodge and outrun missiles this way. See, their boost acceleration can go up to 3.33 additional units per second in combat only. So, big improvement to our escorts. No, you have to run him down and you have to kill him. And that is what this fleet is going to do. It's just going to take us some time. We'll accelerate things so we can actually get to the fun part here. Now he can't leave the system, so the best he can do is run from one side of the system to the other. Now the good news is his engines are about gone. There went one engine. That engine went. Yeah, he's just lost his engines. He's hosed. He's not going anywhere. Look at my fleet strength too. Technology just keeps making the ship stronger and stronger. Most of his armor is busted. Now the thing is, where he's got such a high health, he's got a high rate of regeneration. That's what's making it hard to kill him, the sheer size of the ship. But that's not going to hold up with the entire fleet firing on him now. Yay, a name planet card. We'll be able to name the Homeworld now. Back to the battle. This will be the last battle I'll show for the night. We'll be wrapping up as soon as this guy dies. I'll be back in about a couple hours and we'll be doing our standard Cabal space program stream. But we've got a really good start on this campaign. I'm actually very confident about it. So I really look forward to seeing what comes of it. Wow, he is taking a long time to die. He does not want to go out, but his strength is almost completely depleted. He is taking hits to his bridge right now. But the thing is, he has multiple bridges. And that's the thing about the game design, is if you build ships that have 2 or 3 bridges, they're going to last a lot longer, even if they lose all their weapons, because of the fact you have to kill every bridge hex for the ship to detonate. But once it does, you get that. Oh boy, did he go boom. I think that was a sign he had an antimatter drive on board. Alright, so now we can claim that shipyard. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's see what fun we get out of this. We'll go ahead and equip him for an ion cannon while we're at it too. Okay, there's our dry dock here. Alright, so now we got to build these. Oh, we gotta buy them. That's the catch. You have these nice alien warships, but you have to finish purchasing them. Okay, so where is the next trader? No, practically nothing. I'm stronger than the flight began because technology improvements. Let's see if I actually lost any ships. I don't think I did. We'll check our escort count here. No, we didn't lose any ships, but we did gain the ability to have even more escorts. So, yeah, the fleet got stronger while the battle went on. Ooh. Ooh. That's going to help a lot. So our anomaly gave us a universal 25% bonus to engine thrust to all ships. So our trouble getting around is about to end. Where is that scout? Oh, we had some more of those we needed to look at. Nope, that was the last one in this galaxy. See how strong they are now. They're way weaker than me. I might be able to kick their butt. We might go after them soon. Ooh. For when we get our next flagship, or complete one of those other flagships. That one will be a third done. 2 more cycles, we'll have another 512 size flagship. We'll just have to send it back to the main system via the warp gate to pick up some escorts and then send it off to whatever we want it to do. Alright, so that's it for this stream and for this particular episode of Galactic Dragon Emperor. Come back next time to see what those alien warships are.